Oh boy! Coming to you live from the most talked about city in all professional wrestling, maybe the most overbooked city in professional wrestling. Oh yeah, by the way, CM Punk is freaking back, dude. This happened? This happened.
Holy shit! Holy shit! It is Bedlam in the Allstate Arena, Chicago, Illinois. In CM Punk City, Survivor Series. It may have ended one way, but there's one man we're all talking about, and I think you know his name.
This is just wild. Fans reacting outside of the Allstate Arena this past Saturday, Survivor Series. Nick, this is something I caught that was pretty fun too.
CM Punk is back! Did you expect it? No! No! I made a bet that he wasn't going to be here.
And?
I lost $50.
But you're okay with it?
Yes!
Oh man! Oh, did I disappear?
Yeah, hang on, we'll get you back in here. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
If you're just joining us, it's Sportskeeda Wrestling. This is Rings and Rambles. What a wild couple of days here. I was at the Allstate Arena, as you can see there in the clip we opened the show with, and the insane reaction we got from people here. The most divisive, the most talked about, the most controversial, the most talked about man in professional wrestling, whether you like him or not, is CM Punk. And in June of this year, I saw him return to AEW to launch a brand new show for them. AEW, the big rival of WWE, if you don't follow, if you're just a casual wrestling fan. And you're a fan too, okay?
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was also at Rampage when he made the return to wrestling. I was at Money in the Bank, 2011. I mean, I know Chicago people rag on it because we get too much stuff, right? You and I have had this conversation before, Nick.
Yeah, it's okay.
But that reaction, absolutely insane. And a great pay-per-view, by the way. But
yeah,
everyone always remembers the finish. You know what I mean? And what a way. And this was a very well-kept secret. Did you see it coming, or how did you respond to it?
I definitely 100% did not see this coming. I jumped out of my seat. You know, I thought that the pay-per-view was over. I thought the premium live event was over. I was getting ready to turn it off, and I'm glad that I didn't, because then I was just in complete and utter shock when CM Punk came out. And I mean, that pop, this was the perfect time to bring him back. I know that we were talking about Royal Rumble maybe somewhere down the line, but in Chicago, I mean, no better place to bring CM Punk back. It's his hometown, and they went absolutely nuts.
You bring John Cena back in Boston.
Yeah.
You know, you bring MJF out in Long Island, you know, like you do it where you know you're going to get that reaction, and you do it in the big markets. You're not going to do, I'm sorry, you're not going to do this in, you know, Poughkeepsie. You're going to do this here. So this is a wild scene. Want to hear from you guys here. Let me know what you're thinking here. Can you Mind City Wrestling? Yeah, sure, man. Go ahead and tag your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. Just wild. I mean, I've heard a couple of pops that are like huge, but that was sustained. That was so loud. I mean, I think the pop when he walked out at United Center for AEW, and you knew it was coming, and that was another one where they just let rumor do it, right?
Yeah.
But with that one, they wanted it to be a poorly kept secret because they wanted to sell out the United Center, this very big arena. It's worth noting, when AEW did it, they just didn't say it. Everyone just knew it was happening. Right.
Yeah, right.
And it was well reported that it was happening. This is something where a few weeks ago it was like, no, you know, I'm friendly with Nick Hausman of House Wrestling, who has very good sources in the CM Punk camp, and he was like, it's not no forever, it's just no right now. It seems like, and that was weeks ago. But then you get Fightful reporting on things here, and Nick was backing this up as well in my conversations with him, and then speaking to him after Saturday, where he was in the press conference. He didn't know, and he usually knows a lot. There were some people that were aware of this in Chicago, and there is somebody that I know who is in the media world. I want to be specific about that. They're in the media world, and they tell me something Friday, and I just started back at Q101 Radio, the big Chicago alternative rock radio station in town. So somebody would definitely not want to tell me. It's because, you know, I work for the wrestling website and all this stuff. People saying no more sunny days for 17 years. Okay, all right, buddy. I don't know what that. But Son Off and CM Punk, let us know what you guys think of the big return. We'll put your comments on screen. But somebody was telling me, and they're like, oh, and they've done some like third-party work with WWE. And they were saying basically like, oh, you know, they have the big show. The show's really sold out. You know, they're doing some really big stuff in the show. And I'm kind of like prying to find something. And they know, they're like, oh, well, you know, they have that big surprise at the end of the show. So when we're getting it, and like, I was like, how do you, and this is something, and I think they thought they were talking about Randy Orton. Like, I didn't know that. And they don't follow wrestling. They just do merchandising. So, you get people that don't follow wrestling, they hear something, they don't know what they're saying, right? So I thought it was Randy Orton. The way they were building up, it was like Randy Orton. And they really built up. Randy Orton's going to show up at the end of this big multi-man, 10-man match. And then he gets out there, and I loved it. I thought the match was really, really good. And I heard some friends tell me they didn't like the pacing of it. They thought the women's match was better. I did think the women's match was a little bit better than the show, but that's neither here nor there. And then he comes out, and it's just one of those reactions, just where people are losing their minds, good and bad. You know, most good in Chicago. I wonder what the reaction is going to be like tonight in Nashville as we're coming to you on Monday afternoon. Monday Night Raw will be in Nashville. Randy Orton set for the show, as well as CM Punk. Big announcement coming as well from WWE on the show. What do you think happens here? Where do they go with this? Because this is absolutely crazy. We'll have more details on backstage reactions to this, but what's next?
You know, I'm really not sure where they go with this. You know, I do see the feud with Seth Rollins and CM Punk happening because of Seth's reaction and all that.
100%.
Yeah, it's got to go there. But you know, I'm interested to see how Tennessee responds to CM Punk over, you know, Chicago, because Chicago,
I think they'll pop for him.
Yeah,
I you know, and I do see the reactions are going to be different market to market. You know,
yeah.
But already we had a show Saturday night. Seth Rollins was out in the ring in Peoria, Illinois, for a live event, a house show on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he had some harsh words to say. And he was one of those guys that was going off on Saturday night. And some people are like, is it a work? Is it a shoot? And then you had Drew McIntyre, who got out of the ring beforehand. It's debated and conflicting reports, but Meltzer saying everybody in the match was informed shortly before the match what was going to happen. Wow. So they did their match, and there were some weird things. Just for me being at WWE shows and being at ringside, I can see when they get a countdown and a cue. And they did the arm raising, everybody get together, arm raise twice, which made me think that maybe they were just killing time until they did the big reveal at the end. But I mean, we're not talking about the match. We're not talking about Randy Orton coming back. We're talking about this. We're talking about CM Punk here.
I know, man. I was kind of wondering, like, Randy Orton kind of got his moment in the spotlight taken away from him right away, you know, like it's still huge for him, and it was a huge night. And a guy
who was on the shelf for a year and was told he likely wouldn't wrestle again.
True. You know? Yeah, but he looked jacked when he came back. He looked
great though, didn't he? Punk looked good too. Punk looked great. Mind you, we just saw him in a t-shirt, right? But he looked great. I heard somebody say, "Oh, you dress like a Target manager." I was like, "Oh, come on, I know what you're going for." But what a power play by Triple H and WWE to pull this off.
It was awesome.
It's and if you're in the AEW camp, Tony Khan already doing an interview to promote different things, like AEW tickets going on sale in the UK, and he's in promoter mode. And he spoke with the BBC West Midlands and the Midlands. Yes, I can't talk about that, nor do I think it's the time or the place. But I appreciate you asking, you know, the very cordial thing. I'm very excited about AEW All In, Wembley Stadium. Not to dodge or duck your question. It's just something I can legally talk about. It's just not something I can legally talk about. So, gag order. This also reveals a little bit more about his exit from AEW, which was abrupt. He got fired after that whole fight at the All In show, the biggest show in AEW's history. Before the first match, he's going to open the show. And they didn't put him in a non-compete. They couldn't get him in a non-compete. So he could have came back relatively very soon, you know, or at least, but he did make that reference when he was doing MMA commentary about how he had to wait 2 months or something like that. So, but I mean, after all the nasty bad blood between him and WWE, for him to come back, that's crazy. There's some people that, you know, have real issues with him. have real issues. I interviewed Seth Rollins. I told you about this before.
Yeah.
Where I interviewed Rollins. I interviewed Rollins literally in the room right next to where we are. And immediately I got texts from the people who shot that interview on Saturday night. And they were putting up clips of it and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, he called him out. And it seems like that's the direction. You got to go towards him and Seth Rollins. And they have that real that hasn't been fulfilled or finished. There's just a natural story there.
I would love to see it. And I think we got a comment in here saying that CM Punk will win the championship at Royal Rumble, probably off of Seth Rollins is what they mean, but then lose it at Mania. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see. And definitely with the real deal feud, I wonder if they're going to get, a little bit harsh on each other in there, get a little nasty with each other. And
also he didn't talk, he didn't come out and like cut a promo right away, so we're getting that. And he's one of the most shared or talked about promo guys in the last 20 years.
Definitely.
So I think the CM Punk speaks tonight, is going to be the tease. And if I'm WWE, I don't do that right away. I let Randy Orton go out there first, and then Punk's got a main event. You got to build up that quarter hour against football and all the different stuff here. More comments coming in. I want to hear from you guys. Hello. Seems like Sportskeeda is back on the podcast. Yes, we are. Yes, we're going to be doing Rings and Rambles every Monday afternoon, trying to make this work. I'm on the air for Q101 in Chicago. You can stream it at Q101.com in about a half an hour and get it on the iHeart app. But you can get the podcast version of this whenever you want. Audio is going to be available on the podcast feed. On Facebook, we're in Wrestle Room. It feels like a waiting room, but no, it's just Wrestle Room. And then, of course, you can stream us on the Sportskeeda YouTube channel. You and I just dropped a bunch of different videos this past week on the YouTube channel. So we have a whole bunch of stuff you can hear us on there, too. People just saying, hey, how you doing? Want to hear from you guys and how you feel about this. It's just crazy. Like it still feels surreal that this is something that actually happened. And then you have even the power players in WWE that didn't know about this. Apparently it was just Triple H and Nick Khan. Nick Khan made the final call. But you had people in TKO, the new parent company of WWE, Ari Emanuel, the head of William Morris Endeavor, didn't know about this.
Yeah.
they didn't know about this. Dave Meltzer saying the deal came together about 10 days ago. They obviously kept it completely secret from almost everyone. Paul Levesque said that TKO people found out watching TV, which I thought was ridiculous until I asked around and I was told the exact same thing. What? But I mean, you got to keep it quiet. And then they had merchandise ready to go right away. How do you keep that quiet? But good on them for keeping it quiet. We're going to snoop and we're going to kick over every can we can until this comes through here. Are we still going to see more of Vince Russo and EC3 on the other channel? Yes. Okay. So for people asking, Sportskeeda Wrestling, Rings and Rambles will be on Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube. If you're just following us on YouTube, over on the Wrestle Binge channel, that's where we have kind of all of our big personality shows. We're the in-house guys. We're the AEW guys that are from AEW. That's where we are. I want to hear from more of you guys here. Why people? You guys messed up with their names.
Oh, backwards.
We gotta switch our names back and forth. Yeah, we gotta switch this guy. There we go. I'm gonna go over here.
There we are.
Thank you so much. We've had a hell of a day just trying to get on here. So that was something else. And I'm broadcasting for. I used to do the WrestleZone show, which is pretty sweet too. Hunter Iggy saying Sportskeeda Wrestling, should CM Punk go to NXT to get a warm up? No. And I do think he should do some stuff with NXT. That'd be really cool. Yeah. And you have NXT is going to be on the CW next year, which is a bigger broadcast platform for them to be on. And he's 45 years old. And I don't think is he coming back to do another big run in WWE? 100%. He's going to do big matches. But I do think somewhere involved in that, I do think he's a guy who does something with NXT. He wants to have another role in wrestling beyond what he's doing just right now.
I agree. And I think that he's definitely, he's earned his keep here he had his great years in WWE, went away.
The controversials, they're all, he's earned it. But I'm also I do think he's a guy that wants to be a part of the next generation wrestling in a leadership role. Yeah. And he's trying to do some of that in AEW, but I mean, that was so controversial. There's so many infighting things, so many people going off on each other. I want to hear from people that are all about this here. This one from Jasmine. Thanks to CM Punk, I'm returning. I'm subscribed to WWE again. Okay, so we got some Peacock subscribers here off this thing. Nice. Other comments here. Jeff Torres, on the pie on Peacock, you could tell something was going to happen because they usually go off the air when the show and the copyright logo go on. They've done that clever trick before. They put the copyright, the Chiron like graphic where they say trademark WWE like it's at the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
And the cue that like that's the sign off, and you'll hear Michael Cole do it. Commentary signed off, didn't they?
Yeah, they weren't there. They weren't there anymore.
And they did this in NXT. They did this in NXT when they did Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano like turning on each other. When Tommaso like they came out, they posed at the end, and then they just returned around, catch off guard here.
I forgot all that.
Right. Yeah, and then the bomb when his music hit. The sound in Allstate Arena, I think, is a big part of the reason why you hear so many people. Rosemont Horizon, the acoustic roof there makes the sound of 17,000 people feel like a football stadium, but you're indoors, but it's not a football stadium. So the sound of it is very, very crisp. And this is from me talking to people that even set up the ring. When you get in the ring, you can hear someone all the way in the top of the building, and you can hear them very clearly. And when you can hear that many people that clearly, so when they're quiet, it's loud. When they're loud, it's loud. And I've just never heard a reaction like that before. Maybe when he came back at Rampage in Chicago at United Center, Brock Lesnar, the edge pop I heard was huge when he came back at Royal Rumble. But that dopamine kick was 0 to 1 million real quick for a lot of people. More comments here.
Oh yeah.
They did it with the return of Bray Wyatt too. Yes, that was another massive pop as well. I didn't want to take from that here. So it's just crazy. So seems like the direction is Seth Rollins. That's where they go.
I would think.
And you have Randy Orton back. What do you do with Randy? Let's leave Randy out of the conversation.
I mean, I don't know if you saw that video, but he pointed to the fans and he said 10 more years.
10 more years. God bless you, buddy. I'm not saying you got it. I'm not saying you don't have it in you, but God bless you if you say that. Yeah. I didn't see that. I saw that coming into work today. I was like, oh, we got to mention that. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. So
Randy Orton did feel overshadowed in this whole thing, didn't he?
A little bit. And, they kind of gestured towards each other too. CM Punk and Randy Orton did, kind of doing the little time thing and all this. That I think it's all love there, no matter what. And Randy Orton's
I think I was watching it live, and Randy was goofing around and like sat in a chair, and I thought he was mad, but then you could kind of see the thing with Rollins was really taking center stage. We did notice, and it's already well reported, Drew McIntyre walked out, and then you get the reports of him being angry.
Yeah.
When they do the live events, they'll do promos for those that they air on the screens in house that kind of build to the rest of the show. And some of the wrestlers just don't like doing promos when they're not on TV. But he did the promo because he's a company guy. Everything about Drew is he's a company guy. He knows what to be. So he kind of shared that, but it isn't clear if his frustrations are related to CM Punk or maybe his contract not being renewed or he not getting the deal he wants. Reportedly, Drew McIntyre under contract with WWE through WrestleMania season due to rollover time on his deal with him being injured. But, I mean, what do you think of the people that are angry about CM Punk coming back? How do you think they deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge question here. Is WWE going to lose some fans over this? I don't know. I doubt it. But I did hear, there was the massive pop, but there were the people in the background that were like, no, like you heard that too a little bit, not as much, but there's definitely going to be the angry fans. I know of a guy who just hated CM Punk during his time in AEW, so I'm sure this is bothering him right now. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him yet, but it's going to be interesting. But either way, it's going to create a ton of heat, and that's just what the guy does. It's going to be good for WWE, no matter what, in my eyes, moving forward. Mm-hmm. But
more comments from fans here. Joey Dominic from Q101 walking by and saying hi there. Thank you, Joey. Want to hear you guys fire for questions here. I want to get to this one though. I just had up there on the screen that just got away from me. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Kevin and Kevin. Here we go. Kevin Rudolph. 1, 2, 3. With Punk, Orton, Cody in the main event picture, is LA Knight going to be stuck as a mid-carder, or will he somehow go on to win the Royal Rumble and get added to the mix? It's worth noting Punk coming in, he just doesn't come in, obviously, at the end of the card. He comes in at the top of the card, and he comes in and really jumps ahead of whatever the pecking order is in WWE at the moment. If you're an LA Knight, is this guy taking your spot now? If you're Cody, is this guy going to come and disrupt your spot? If you're a Randy Orton, you thought you were coming back and you're getting a big angle and Matt Riddle's out of the picture. And like, there's so much in WWE right now that just gets, I don't want to say thrown up in the air, but you got the sense that WWE is going to figure this out as they go into it. But so much of Triple H's thing has been long-term build, long-term payoff, big-time payoff. Roman Reigns has the title for a long time. When are we getting the payoff with that? Gunther has the title for a long time. Oh, by the way, Gunther, Miz. One of the Miz's best matches of his career. He lost the match, one of the best matches of his career. Gunther's on a roll, but I know Miz is more known for his personality work. I'm not saying he's not a good wrestler. I do think he's a good wrestler. But he was like, for a guy who's certified heel and a villain, he got the crowd to be into him. And I was like, everybody loves to boo this guy. This isn't going to work. Like, I was doubting it, and I'll shut my mouth up. I thought he really shut a lot of people up with his versatility in that performance.
Yeah, I was.
But what do you think? What do you think of Punk coming in and shaking up the order there? My ADD was clicking.
You're good. Man, I definitely think he jumps a lot of people, and as well as Randy Orton. I think that Punk is ahead of Randy Orton there, but LA Knight even moves down the totem pole to Randy. So these two guys coming in is going to shake up the roster big time, but this says a lot about the roster. It is just stacked right now with a ton of
think of how many guys they have.
Yeah,
think of how many they have multiple guys right now they could go with in the top of the card.
Oh,
multiple.
And
also, we haven't seen Roman Reigns in weeks. He wasn't on the show.
Right.
I don't even think they brought up his name. Like, and he's your Universal Champion, by the way. And I do think that's a nagging issue they eventually have to address.
Well, and Damian Priest has the briefcase. What's he going to do with it with all these powerhouses here now too?
He nearly cashed in. So it does. I will say this: I think it makes more interesting questions than it makes like bad ones. You know. And I get as someone who knows people involved in these things, the resistance against Punk for the political different things that have happened with him on screen, on and off screen, right? Mm-hmm. But I look at it also and I step away and I think Bret Hart could come back to WWE, and he had bad blood for a lot of different reasons, both professional and personal. Shawn Michaels was able to come back from injuries, his misbehavior, he came back. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Stone Cold with the injuries and different stuff like that.
True.
The phrase, as corny as it is, WWE said, I know everyone's going to say, oh, you're just a shill. Never say never applies here.
Yeah. And
the fact that Punk's going to have to really make some, I don't know if he's going to have to make some amends, but he's going to have to really justify the character or reassert that character, that defiant character, when he gets out there and he talks this week on television. Where is this going? And I don't think we're going to get him on wrestling a whole lot. I think he's going to be a guy who gets to be featured as a 45-year-old main eventer. He's going to get that edge treatment, but I don't know. It just creates a whole bunch of scenarios. I know we've been talking about this for 23 minutes, but what else is everyone else going to want to talk about anyway? Sound off in the comments here. I want to hear from you guys, especially if you're watching on demand. I'll still be jumping in those comments as well. Go ahead and let us know what you think. Subscribe to the podcast, by the way, available on Spotify. On the same podcast feed, you get all the shows with Russo. Bill Apter, who just did an interview with The Undertaker, which was awesome, by the way. Bill Apter giving The Undertaker pet names and nicknames and stuff like that. That was really, really cool. Of course, giving him the Bill Apter Legacy Award. So saying you work with Bill Apter is just a fun thing. Nick, how about this question here? Read this one here.
Sportskeeda Wrestling, how many AEW wrestlers do you think we can join CM Punk in WWE? How many wrestlers are going to join CM Punk in WWE? I don't know. I mean, I know that there's rumors.
There's already people. I think it was really Cody that opened the door on that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And floodgates are open now, so it's up to who WWE wants, really. So.
But it also goes both ways. We're at a time where WWE signed a new TV deal for SmackDown that'll move it back to the USA Network, and a lot of people say, oh, they lose network TV, but they still get the same amount of money. So, I mean, it really breaks down to money. They're owned by a big company. The fear was when TKO Endeavor bought WWE. I know you and I were kind of talking about this, that people may or may not get the same type of money or treatment. Like, how would they be treated? Like, what would the difference be? But as you can tell now, someone's getting real money here, and this has got to be formidable money for a guy to do this at this stage of his career with the injuries he's had. So for Punk to come in here, if you're somebody under for nearing the end of their deal, you can really play it. And another thing is for WWE, they have to report to a publicly traded company. They have to have Triple H come out there and say, the biggest Survivor Series of all time. We sold this money at the gate and all those different things. And advertising revenue. AEW operates completely differently. They're a privately held company. Tony Khan really just has to answer to himself and TV partners, so maybe that's the challenging buck he has to pay, but he also has to pay quite a bit here. I know the big one that people are talking about is MJF, right? If MJF's deal, if he genuinely is a guy who says, I'm the bidding war of 2024, he's not the only one. There's many others, especially on the WWE side. They're going to be thinking about this now, and vice versa. But the word is that MJF signed a deal a long time ago, and he's just kind of playing it up, and he stopped doing it when he became more of a babyface as a champion. So I don't know. It's certainly really, really interesting. I do think there's some guys who are in the mid card that maybe get lost in there. And there's a lot of talent in AEW that isn't featured the way they might want to be, and vice versa in WWE. There's some guys who are completely lost in the shuffle in WWE just naturally, and guys, and I include the gals in that as well. So Do you think this opens up for some more WWE returns from people who were in AEW? Now they're like, maybe they're treating the guys right now, because we don't see a lot of Miro anymore. If Punk, the most outspoken big name headliner, and when he did that about 10 years ago, 8-9 years ago, when he did that podcast with Colt Cabana, Art of Wrestling, he kind of pulled back the curtain the hardest on people feeling that we're not getting the Vince McMahon who made the Attitude Era or something like that. I'm not saying Vince is passe, just the way Vince operates now is different than he did in the past, and it doesn't gel with him. And then you kind of saw other people feel the same way, that Vince just does what Vince wants to do, and then he'll figure out how it works with the fan. I'm not saying that's the truth, but there just became this like narrative that snowballed from people. Is that fair? And now, but this is a different WWE, and it's under Triple H, and he's done all those deals. I mean, when Jericho had his last run in WWE, Vince McMahon didn't handle that deal. It was Triple H who did it. You know, if you're Jericho signed a new deal, if I'm Jericho, I'd be like, I've done everything I want to do. I want to help AEW get on the mat. I made a lot of money, got a lot of money from them. I don't know when his deal's up. I know he's there for a couple more years. You have Daniel Bryan, big name, left WWE, didn't have anything really to accomplish. Done a lot in AEW, hasn't won the world title there yet, but he's a guy who's saying this is my last full-time year in wrestling. But he's also a guy who AEW's talked about maybe doing something as like an executive. You know, like
I could see that
him doing that, and he was doing a little bit in WWE. But if you're all those guys, you kind of have to reevaluate this. If Punk is a guy who's going to go over there now, mind you, if it falls apart and Punk has another big situation backstage, you're going to have all the people saying, "Hey, you know, you should have seen this coming." You know,
I've seen some comments like that. They're going to be like, you know, I think Ryback even said if he's still with WWE after 6 months, that he'll quit professional wrestling altogether. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Because I think he's going to be there after 6 months. But there's a whole bunch of that going around. Some people are like, you'll see. I'll be saying I told you so here in a few months. And I don't know. Well, Triple H says it's a brand new CM Punk. This is a brand new WWE. I'm going to go with the guy who's running the deals here. So
want to get Kevin Rudolph's question here, but I have alarms and different things popping up here on screen.
Yeah, you probably got to get rolling here pretty soon, right?
I do. I got to get on air for Q&A here in about 15 minutes.
Oh,
we're live. Is this the perfect time for Seth Rollins to turn heel? Or is he just going to stay face while Punk plays the bad guy if both goes on at WrestleMania? Well, here's the thing. I think they can organically play with the idea of their issues with each other.
Yeah.
And then maybe let the fans decide who they want to cheer.
I would love that.
If Punk's the heel, he'll take it. You know what I mean? Like if Punk's the heel in this, he can have fun with that. And also if Punk's the heel, it's not something you've seen him play in a long time. So that would be fun. True. And if you want to boo him already, boo him. You're not quiet. You know what I mean? It's not like anyone who hates him was quiet. That's the part that's the hard reality of this situation, right? You know? So all right, we're gonna hop out of here. You can follow Nick. Where do they follow you, buddy?
On the X or Twitter at nharksen24. That's at NHARKSEN24.
Definitely hit the like button before we sign out here. Go ahead and share the link, by the way. We're going to keep growing this up, keep building this out, doing some fun things. A lot of big stuff coming to Sportskeeda in the next week or two. I did some big videos on the whole CM Punk thing, kind of fantasy booking the entire scenario. That video will likely be dropping within the next day or so. So if you're watching on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, make sure your notifications are on there. You can give me a follow at Kev Kellum on the Twitter. I'm still calling it that. Kev Kellum 6 on the Instagram, Sportskeeda Wrestling on all the different apps. Go ahead and give that a follow. And thank you to Q101 for letting me use the side studio here. Give us a follow on all the different fun stuff. We have big shows coming up with Twisted Christmas starting December 5th with the Black Keys, the Aragon Ballroom.
Nice.
Get your tickets.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys. Remember, when watching wrestling, please do the most important thing. Enjoy wrestling.